Are you afraid of clowns? Well, good. Stay put. We're bringing your deepest clown fears to life, rounding up the creepiest of the creepy clowns. No eyeballs, just empty black sockets and a droopy face. This is unmistakably Wrinkles. Remember when he first climbed out onto the scene from under a little girl's bed? That led some parents to want to actually hire him in order to scare their misbehaving kids. If it's any consolation, he's a Florida man who staged the whole thing. Now to a New York screening of The Joker that wasn't funny. Counterterrorism cops took no chances during a screening at Lincoln Center, searching every theatergoer in order to avoid any possible acts of violence. Since in the film, Joaquin Phoenix plays a downtrodden loner who turns into the Joker so he can inflict extreme acts of violence. It's the Stephen King thriller that frightens at just about every turn. It. But can you imagine being the kid, not only unfazed by it, but dressing up like it? Pennywise, that is. Peep this eerie photo shoot. The kid is still all smiles. What's creepier? That kid dressed up as Pennywise, or walking into an empty theater and seeing this, a lone Pennywise. It, sitting, waiting for you. Yikes. Alegría. Don't these clowns look happy? Hundreds of them slithered through Mexico City for the 24th Annual International Clown Convention. It's also known as the Fair of Laughter, organized by the Brotherhood of Latin Clowns. 450 clowns from 14 countries unite during that time. According to the Latin American Clown Association, there are about 10,000 professional clowns registered in Mexico alone.
What y'all want me to do first?
Oh, y'all do a silly clown dance for us.
Oh, we don't play that.
Out again on Thursday, especially.
Well, she certainly doesn't. This Arizona reporter is not having it.
Bye. Okay, hope you enjoy your forecast. I'm leaving. Bye.
As a clown, unfamiliar with boundaries, interrupts her live weather report.
No. No one can clear a room like a scary clown. I do not like this. What's going on? Why are you here?
The rest is history, that's right.
And in Iowa, this reporter thinks she's just doing a live interview with a haunted house owner. When this clown scares her right off her feet. And no matter how old you get, that fear, like Kramer's from Seinfeld, might never go away.
Are you still scared of clowns? Yeah.
It's the season for a good scare. But not all ghosts are created equal. They can be friendly.
Pleasure to meet you, sir.
Or frightening. And Hollywood has portrayed them every which way. Here are some of the most memorable movie ghosts. Note, there may be some spoilers ahead, so you've been warned. Casper the Friendly Ghost may have terrified Christina Ricci in 1995.
Man. Perfect first impression. What a jerk.
It didn't take long for them to become friends, coexisting in the same haunted mansion. And here's another kid-friendly ghost who was less assuming.
I see dead people.
In your dreams? While you're awake?
Dr. Malcolm Crowe built a good rapport with a child who sees ghosts in the sixth sense. The time he invested in this special client seemed to take a toll on his marriage.
I didn't leave you.
But it came as a shock to all of us, including the doctor, that he was one of the ghosts little Cole was able to see. Another spirit that reached out to a medium had unfinished business in life. Patrick Swayze's character in Ghost was taken away from his love Molly too soon.
Somebody help us!
So he tracked down Whoopi Goldberg's Oda Mae Brown to connect with her.
Molly, Sam says to tell you you're wearing the shirt that he spilled the margarita on and the earrings he gave you for Christmas.
Not all encounters with the dead are this touching. Just ask the Maitlands.
You want to get rid of that pesky living here once and for all? Well, come on down and see me, folks.
After saying his name 3 times, Beetlejuice promised to help a recently deceased couple take back their home from the living family that purchased it after their deaths. It would be a decision they would come to regret.
Don't you hate it when that happens? Let's go, Barbara. Wait.
Disgusting blob.
Another destructive ghost gave the Ghostbusters a run for their money. Slimer wasn't willing to get into the trap willingly. The paranormal hunters nearly destroyed a hotel to catch this critter and couldn't help getting slimed in the process.
What happened? Are you okay?
He slimed me.
That's great. Actual physical contact. Can you move?
Getting covered in slime isn't so bad, considering what happened to the victims in Sleepy Hollow. The Headless Horseman took off many heads in the town in pursuit of finding his own, and baffled Ichabod Crane, who was trying to figure out why it was all happening.
Came back to clean the head.
Thanks for stopping.
And a cult favorite ghost really shook up a playful children's movie with her cameo.
I saw the worst accident I ever seen.
None of us were expecting this twist during Pee-wee's Big Adventure. We all shared his anxiety as Large Marge told her chilling story.
And when they finally pulled the driver's body from the twisted, burning wreck, it looked like this.
Giving even the bravest kids nightmares.
Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
So whether you're looking for something heartwarming or horrifying, there's a ghostly movie for you.
It's an open house from your worst nightmare.
You guys upstairs. Oh my God!
A realtor brought unsuspecting home buyers inside a home and gave them a tour through the house rigged with terror-inducing effects, leaving everyone screaming and running for the door. The prank was done to promote the latest movie in the horror series, Paranormal Activity: Ghost Dimension.
What are you doing in here?
The film staged hidden frightful things at the real home that was used to film the original Paranormal Activity.
Great.
Be careful house hunting around Halloween, or you could be the victim of a scary prank.
What a bloody mess! A human head crushed by a large safe, and the dude on the roof has a machete through his head. The gory Halloween display in Dallas was created by Steven Novak, who used 2 gallons of fake blood.
It's shocking at first, and then people inevitably just start laughing. It's funny.
But not everyone's laughing. In fact, cops have been called several times.
They were cool. They said that they liked it.
This display outside Houston is also raising eyebrows. It's a skeleton strip club, complete with pole dancing. Angela Nava is defying an order from her homeowners association to take it down.
We just decided if this brings a little bit of joy and a little bit of a smile to someone, then we're doing everything right.
And zombies have taken over this New Jersey front lawn. Some neighbors wanted the 90 corpses carted away because of traffic jams, but the homeowner says they're staying. Are you afraid that they might ask you to take it down?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
And these people are lined up at the car wash, not to clean their vehicles, but to get scared out of their wits. With traditional haunted houses closed because of COVID-19, Johnny Moranti has transformed his car wash on Long Island into a tunnel of terror.
This year has been pretty crazy. Everyone gets a good scare and they get to stay in the safety of their own car.
Washington, Pennsylvania, a comfortable, sleepy little town where nothing much happens often. That is, until some of the town's zombies start acting up again.
Action zombie.
This is the area where the original film Night of the Living Dead was made, and this is the town where they are filming the remake. So this is the town where the movie company came to find its stars, the unactors who would play the undead.
I think for the most part, just the whole thing is in such a rural place. We wanted, I want to say, the hillbilly, redneck, really unsophisticated look, and that's not meant to be demeaning in any way. It's just that country, if you want a farmer, go find a farmer look.
In real life, they can be farmers or physicists, but they are never professional actors. The movie company prefers to use people who happen to live in the area.
If there were movie stars in it, it would destroy the whole feeling of the scare. If you were walking through a cemetery, and I'm sure if you've ever been in the cemetery, you must have felt at some point, wouldn't it be creepy? Because you know what you're standing on, you know. Wouldn't it be creepy if one of them just came back?
Yeah, that sounds pretty creepy. So, is there a zombie school of acting? As it turns out, there is. It begins with the advice of the film's original director, George Romero.
When George was directing his films, there was the Three Dead films. He only gave one lesson, and that's don't drag your foot. Just don't drag your left foot. It looks too much like the Mummy, you know. We even had movement instructors come in and do exercises with our stable of zombies.
And they have obviously been effective. Most of these zombies are frighteningly realistic.
Zombie on the left, raise your hand.
You sort of lead with your eyes.
I just think about, either grabbing people and tearing their flesh off.
This is not a glamour job. These people stand around in the cold for hours. They do take after take from dusk to dawn, and you know what? They're having a really good time.
The one night I scared my mom half to death.
So what does it take to be a zombie?
I think it takes a lot of patience and a lot of desire to want to sit through the makeup and the wardrobe, and just a certain spunk that you want to get out there and be a monster.
The next thing I knew, she asked me to be a zombie. I wasn't sure how to take that, but I wasn't sure how to get out of it either. Reluctantly, I sat down and let the makeup man bring out the zombie in me. I look like an old pizza. What is this?
It's called gel blood.
What's it made of?
It's made of it's real blood that we take from dead bodies. No, I'm kidding.
What's it made of?
It's Caro syrup.
It tastes like mud, which gets us to the next step of the process, costume. The style is decomposition chic. Once you're done, you feel like a dustbin in an overcoat. Now all that was left was the acting. That was easy. I was already scared stiff.
Let your hands hang down.
Yeah.
And your jaw has to be slack. Just relax your jaw and look up.
Okay.
And never, you're blind. Never stare at anything, okay?
Okay.
And just, I tell you what, walk right toward me. Now, okay? Over here.
I'm practicing.
Mark.
Action.
That's a cut.
Well, I made it. I lived through my Hollywood debut, so to speak. I know I'm not much of an actress, but if a reviewer happens to see me and says that I'm lifeless and dead, I guess that'll be a compliment.
It's Squeaky Boy. With every breath he takes, you hear a whistle.
Where are you, Anthony? In the emergency room.
How he ended up in the emergency room is quite a story. The kid was apparently playing with one of those doggy toys and swallowed the whistle part. This is what the doggy toys look like, and when you take them apart, there's a little whistle inside, and you can see how easy it is for a kid to swallow. It's really no laughing matter, as Squeaky Boy found out in the ER. Check out this creepy chair.
People were texting me and asking me, really, give us the story. Did someone die in it? Did someone melt in it?
Dee Whitlock bought the chair online, but she never noticed the eerie outline of a man in the chair until it was delivered to her home in Oklahoma and she tried to resell it.
I put on there, beautiful chair, nothing wrong with it. And that's what really grabbed the attention of all the viewers. People were commenting, yeah, except there's someone that died in it.
It is reminding lots of people of the terrifying chair in the movie The Conjuring. My house!
It's him.
And also a scene from The Invisible Man.
And his arms come down, and you can even see right here that you can see where the hands would have been like this. This is intriguing to me. You can see where the legs have been.
Dee's now settled on keeping the chair. She's even given it a name, Henry.
Steve Shippy is used to making people scream.
It's time.
For years, he's been known on stage as Prozac, rapping for fans in his home state of Michigan and across the country. But now, he's making people jump for a different reason. Steve has made a new name for himself as a paranormal investigator, documenting the fears of the living.
There's 3 scratch marks on my neck.
And the remnants of the dead.
Did you just try to speak?
It may seem like a drastic career change, but Steve says he's had a connection to the paranormal all his life.
It never left me.
Steve says his own childhood home was haunted.
Disembodied voices, anomalous force, moving objects, and some of the scarier things were being pushed, being scratched, seeing shadowy figures. While I was sleeping, the bed would shake, knocking would come from the closet. The activity in the house definitely did seem to center around me quite a bit.
Despite the hauntings, Steve found one bright spot in his day: music.
My mom would always be playing records and whatever was on the top 40 or the top 100 on Sundays. And so I did find some comfort in music.
Searching for sanctuary, peace of mind, but something's wrong.
His songs and lyrics hint at his haunted past. It's how he connected to his fans.
It's almost maybe like a brotherhood in a way, or some type of fellowship you have with people that hear your story and they say, hey, it happened to me. I saw this. I know it's real. Let's talk about that.
He returned to his paranormal roots, starting with his hometown.
Saginaw obviously is definitely one of the most haunted cities in America.
In his Haunted Saginaw series on Amazon, Steve tries to uncover the supernatural secrets of a former funeral parlor, a well-worn saloon, and historic homes where former residents may still remain.
This cemetery was right here, where this property is right now. The fear hits you first, and at the same time, there's a fascination. You know, there's this immediate validation that right here, right now, this is happening.
And now he's taking his camera around Middle America.
Where I'm from, that's the language that I speak.
For the new Haunting in the Heartland on the Travel Channel.
I would say the town of Holly Springs, Mississippi had an energy that I really never felt before. It's a lot of pre-Civil War homes, antebellum homes, and you could just feel, for lack of a better word, a presence when you're out on the streets at night. And even the townspeople will tell you that you feel like you're being watched, and it's real.
Rebecca's sister said he was begging at the end for people to move in with him, any of the siblings.
Steve never thought he would go from hip-hop recording artist to ghost hunter.
Sometimes I wonder why I didn't run the other way.
But for him, it's a full circle turn of events.
But I always knew that in some way, shape, or form, I would continue to search for the answers. But being able to help people and identify with them, and I think that's kind of healing, you know, some of the fears and things I grew up with.
I told my mom I thought I saw a werewolf, and my mom believed me.
I was walking along a good probably 7 to 10 seconds before it had turned its head.
That thing, that was no dog. That was too big to be a dog. That thing was bigger than me.
That thing was stalking cornfields, jumping on cars, and feasting on roadkill. For 2 years, people in Elkhorn, Wisconsin whispered about a king-sized creature who roamed Bray Road.
It had really big claws. It was holding its roadkill like it had elbows, and it was kneeling on 2 knees, like a human being might do.
Eerie stories like that prompted Linda Godfrey, a reporter and cartoonist, to investigate. It was all just too bizarre not to be for real.
When you live in a small town and you say you've seen something that looks like a dog man or a wolf man,
you know, you're going to get some ridicule, and they did. So they had no reason to say this.
Despite the ridicule, Beast believers came forward in Godfrey's Beast of Bray Road article, like Doris Gibson, who'd seen it on Halloween night 1991. Driving down Bray Road, she had gotten out of her car when she thought she had hit an animal.
It was foggy out and I was a little bit afraid. And this big thing come just like trucking, you know? Just trucking down the road at me, man. I looked at it and I'm like, ah! And I got back in the car. You know, and before I peeled off, that thing scratched the back of the car.
Tom Brichta's car was also scratched by the creature from Bray Road.
My adrenaline started pumping. I was scared.
But this is a creature that likes to cross county lines. Tom saw it twice on Route 106.
We were having a good time and stuff. We were singing to the oldies and jamming out and stuff. And then all of a sudden I noticed this on the side of the road.
He was big and he looked intimidating. I was scared of his appearance.
Back on Bray Road.
At first. So I came up from behind it and I realized it wasn't a person when I saw its pointy ears.
From those descriptions, Linda drew up this composite picture of the beast. All agreed it was very big, with pointy ears and broad-chested with a shaggy coat streaked with silver, gray, or black.
It had brought its right hand up, stopped, looked over by the car, real nonchalant, and made eye contact with both Scott and I, and gave like this sneer, like it was challenging us. Like, you know, what are you gonna do about it? You know, I'm here, you're there. I'm bigger than you are. You can't do anything about it.
But with all the sightings, no one knew if it was man, beast, or even a combination of the two. One person simply called it God's mistake.
I would assume that what they saw was some sort of an animal, probably dog-like in nature, either a loose dog or a coyote.
I just said, it's a big animal, and it's upset. It's really upset.
If werewolves do exist, this is probably a werewolf.
Hey, what are you doing? Once the W word was spoken, werewolf mania broke out in Elkhorn. T-shirts were gobbled up and personal capture permits were issued courtesy of Hairy Face. Even the local bakery made Beast of Bray Road cookies, touting them as werewolf cookies that will make you howl. Letters.
It had a terribly unkempt look to its fur, wild, not normal.
Elaine Bushman was describing what her husband Robert had witnessed in 1991. The Bushmans live in St. Nazian and were just passing through town when Robert spied the creature. They knew nothing of the beastly tales that haunted Elkhorn.
I've never seen anything that would be dirty enough and for some reason or other scary enough to make you feel the hair lift up on your arms, you know?
So, is it a dog, coyote, or werewolf? Believe what you will, but just remember, it's here, just waiting.
Are these stories just setups to horror movies? Sure seems like it. First up, in October 2020, archaeologists in Egypt took the lid off a coffin. That never ends well.
The Mummy, the living dead, bringing terror and death across 4,000 years.
The coffin was one of 59 that had recently been discovered in pristine condition. The coffins contained the earthly remains of clerks and priests from the so-called 26th dynasty. Now, though they were some 2,500 years old, the coffins and their contents were well preserved by protective seals. Archaeologists also found several statues of an Egyptian god known as Seker. Seker was worshipped in relation to funerals, burials, and treatment of the dead. And for everyone concerned, let's hope everything just stays put in the Cairo Museum. Next, in 2018, a mystery videotape was discovered in a thrift shop. Its label said it contained a surprise and also featured a creepy smiley face. Mysterious videotapes? We've seen that one before. 7 days. The computer programmer who bought it told Inside Edition's Stephen Fabian,
I just, threw it in the bag of stuff I was buying just to see what it was.
You're thinking, what could be on this tape?
Yeah, I had no idea.
They taped themselves putting the tape into a VCR. Cue the evil spirits. First, they saw static, just like in The Ring.
If you pop it into the VCR, what do you see?
And I'm like, really? It's this?
That's right, they got rickrolled.
I was just shocked.
What do you say to the person who made the tape?
I'd say that was a very good joke. I'm amazed.
This one might have been a joke too, but it was creepy as In 2019, a person wearing a TV on its head deposited old TVs on the doorsteps of a Virginia neighborhood. The unexplained deliveries happened around midnight naturally. The TV man even waves at security cameras. Mysterious masked figures at a door? Time to move. One person who may be considering such a move is Samantha Hartsoe.
The air is coming from the mirror. Okay, I realized the mirror moves. Let me show you what I found in my New York City bathroom.
In March 2021, Samantha made a disturbing discovery, a secret room behind the mirror of her bathroom. It's like Candyman. You won't catch us saying that twice more.
Candyman.
Samantha decided she'd investigate further because what could go wrong? She armed herself with a hammer.
But I can't go in empty-handed, you know? I mean, I feel like I have a pretty good punch, but like, I'm not trying to practice. I'm not trying to like play that, you know?
Fortunately for Samantha, she lived to tell the tale.
Made it out alive.
But some questions.
Like, I would love to just have some sort of answer to like why there's a hole there.
From 2018, another mysterious phenomenon that had people asking questions.
Guys, what is going on?
Eerie sounds were being heard around the world, in Sweden, in Michigan, in British Columbia, Canada. Dr. Glenn McPherson said he heard a strange humming sound. At first, he thought it was a household appliance.
Ultimately, I cut the power to the entire house, and the sound got louder.
He discovered he was not alone.
This is in fact a worldwide phenomenon, and I'm calling it the worldwide hum.
Like something out of an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
She says everyone's dead outside.
McPherson started tracking the noises, and then he went one step further. He built a steel box that blocks out low-frequency sound waves, but for some reason, he said he could still hear the hum when he got inside it.
Going into the box made absolutely no difference whatsoever to my perception of the hum. If anything, maybe even it got louder.
Some potential culprits for the source of that sound include a jet breaking the sound barrier, or meteors. An at-home security camera in New Jersey caught the sound and a flash of one meteor impact. One man told Inside Edition,
huge explosion, loud enough and strong enough to knock the pictures off my walls and shatter the glass all over the place.
And weird meteors never hurt anyone, right? In February 2021, we met a cute ferret that had been cloned from the frozen cells of a ferret who died in 1988. This is actually a good news story. Researchers are hoping to bring back the rare black-footed ferret, and cloning could also help restore extinct species like the passenger pigeon and the woolly mammoth. But let's think twice before we try it with dinosaurs, okay?
Life finds a way.
No one was about to challenge this picnic crasher. A family was enjoying a meal at a national park in Mexico when a black bear joined the feast. The humans sat very still and quietly while the bear went at their enchiladas and tacos. The terrified family could only wait. A woman shielded a child in case the bear took an interest in humans. They were incredibly relieved when the bear had its fill and decided to leave.
They're a common sight around Halloween time. Decorative skeletons meant to give you the heebie-jeebies. Here are some of our favorite skeleton stories. Some Oregon residents hoped these skeletons would get drivers to slow down when passing through their neighborhood.
You get little motorcycles and little hot rods, or just people in a fast car. They love this corner and they step on it.
Colleen Town says she wanted to come up with a way to get people to think about their actions.
I've been thinking about it for a long time. I finally just went, you know, I'm so tired of everybody come bombing around this corner and no consideration.
As if reports of a hurricane aren't scary enough, this satellite image of Hurricane Matthew from 2016 was especially chilling. The image was first captured by the NASA Earth Science Office, and you can't help but see a smirking skull in the photo, which a meteorologist from the Weather Channel said was true to form.
This is some really freaky, sinister-looking face, which unfortunately is consistent with the hurricane being sinister because it's already been deadly and destructive.
Gracias.
The dead are worshipped in Bolivia, sort of. The annual Skull Festival invites Bolivians to bring the skulls of deceased family members to a mass to ask for blessings of wealth and health. While the Catholic Church considers the holiday to be pagan, it doesn't discourage worshippers from participating. Devotees dress their loved ones' remains with flowers and cocoa leaves and celebrate their belief in rebirth. Here's one way to get people to use their phones less. Warn them that excessive cell phone use could cause them to grow horns. These x-rays show bone spurs developing at the base of a skull due to what doctors say is too much time spent looking down at a device.
If you keep your neck really bent forward for an extended period of time, then you end up stretching some of the ligaments in the back and it protrudes these cervical bones.
Now for the important question, how do we prevent this from happening?
You're keeping your shoulders straight, your lower back is in good alignment, so this is helping all that. And I think if you do that on a regular basis and remind yourself, I think those things will go a long way in preventing those horns.
Brainless idiots! And one famous skeleton will scare you, then insult you for being so scared.
You were a whip scientist and you could be a whip villain!
But Skeletor, nemesis to He-Man, actually has a lot of valuable life lessons to offer, according to author Rob Perlman, who wrote the book, What Would Skeletor Do?
The biggest thing Skeletor can teach us is what not to do, but I try to turn that around and say the tiny little nuggets of wisdom that he could give us.
Of course, you worthless hunk of fur! Books are the real treasures of the world!
As evil as he is, you have to admire his tenacity and his stick-to-itiveness. Every episode, he just keeps trying and trying and trying.
Who will stop me? Not you!
How about me, Skeletor?
Sometimes he realizes that the only way to get things done is to do it yourself.
Witless fools, do I have to do everything for you? You pathetic pair of pitiful pinheads! Get over here, you furry fool!
That's certainly finding a silver lining in a very dark cloud.
This woman is afraid to go into her basement.
I am afraid, yeah.
Mother of three Lana Segali says the basement of her New Jersey home gives her the creeps. No wonder, look how cluttered it is. Who knows what could be lurking in all that mess?
I'm worried about anything jumping out at me.
But what really gave her the willies was the day she smelled a putrid odor coming from somewhere in the basement. Lana dragged her husband George downstairs to check it out. Even he was spooked and brought along an iron skillet just in case something was alive.
There's skunk in here.
Could be, or is it something else entirely? To find out, Inside Edition set up surveillance cameras all around the basement. And this is what we found. A whole bunch of field mice making themselves at home. And what's this creepy thing crawling down the camera?
What in the heck?
But no sign of any skunk. Now, if you think basements are scary, what about attics?
A little worried about coming in here.
Allison Davidson lives in Cortland, New York. She got really freaked out when she heard a strange sound.
My husband left for a business trip, and a couple of hours later, I heard some noise above my kitchen, and then I heard some noise outside.
Allison went outside and saw a mama raccoon carrying her newborn babies.
No!
And she couldn't believe it when she saw the animal climbing over the fence and then entering her house, coming right in through the doggy door.
Oh my God. Go! Get!
I was trying to alarm the raccoon, kicking and screaming as much as I could, not have her come in the house.
The resourceful raccoon apparently climbed up these boxes in the garage and made its way all the way up and up, right up to the attic. And there she is, making herself right at home. Inside Edition's night camera caught her scavenging around.
I do not want to go up there.
She should be afraid. They've got some sharp teeth.
Allison summoned local wildlife expert Jim Horton, who used an infrared heat-seeking camera and confirmed the presence of the raccoon, who was none too happy to see him.
You see that warm spot right there, and that's where she is.
He set up a cage at the end of the attic, then went in. There's the big bad mama raccoon in a nest she built under the floorboard. He gives it another go. He pries open the floorboard, and the mother takes off, running straight into the trap. Her babies are safely removed and placed in a carrying cage.
So little.
Mother and babies are reunited and will be released into the wild. Allison no longer has to be afraid of going into the attic.
Bye.
What's up? I'm Johanna Lee.
And I'm Maya Chung.
We're with InsideEdition.com, and today we are going to a haunted house. There's gonna be jump scares, there's gonna be fake blood, there's gonna be actors, and I'm so excited. I love everything Halloween. How are you feeling, Maya?
I'm excited and a little scared. I'm like easily scared, so we'll see how it goes.
Are you? Let's go.
It's haunted. We are here at Hudson Horrors with Steve Zero. Can you tell us a little bit about what to expect?
People coming to the haunt will end up starting down there at the toy factory. They'll get a good scare. They'll take a little break. Then they'll go into the mansion for the second part of the story, get a bigger scare before they come to my asylum here. A lot of screaming, a lot of scariness. It's about entertainment, not just fear.
The master is not very happy when we get guests.
I'm Polly the Jolly. I can't wait to have my friends play with you.
Victoria! I think we have some.
Are you here to help me find pizza?
Don't touch the walls.
This will work out just fine.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Have fun, guys.
Oh my God, it's Bloody Mary!
Oh my God.
You've managed to survive our first 2 haunts tonight. Let's head on in. Please follow me. My staff is waiting for you behind this door to get you admitted and prepped for your procedure.
So we survived the haunted houses.
We did.
Barely. What was your favorite part?
Definitely the green room where there was like all this smoke on the floor and random people popping out at us.
And it was like lasers, so we couldn't see past the surface.
Yeah,
and there was people jumping out at us from below.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
I'm so glad we didn't have to go through it alone. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
It's one of the spookiest places in America, and this photo shows why.
I thought maybe a little girl ran by, thinking she'd walk by really fast. Something, did we miss her?
John and Jessica Mosling visited the famed Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado last month. They took a guided spirit tour that explains the 108-year-old building's haunted history. While walking around, they snapped this photo, and at the bottom of the image was something they didn't see in person.
So even if you look at the picture, you notice nobody's looking there. You know, they're all looking at the tour guide. So, I mean, you just don't excuse something like that, you know, a girl in her so-called, what I thought looked like pajamas.
Some kind of white gown.
Yeah.
The couple says they called the hotel to see if any children were staying there the night they took the tour, and the hotel reportedly told them no. But the Stanley Hotel is well known for its paranormal activity. When author Stephen King stayed there, he says he had a nightmare so scary it inspired him to write The Shining.
Here's Johnny!
Last year, another guest tried to snap a photo of an empty lobby, but ended up with a photo of what looks to be a woman at the top of a staircase. The Moslings didn't spend the night at the hotel, but now they're considering going back to stay over and see what else will happen.
They speak of several things that, you know, might occur while you stay there, like little children running the hallways at night, your doorknob rattling, possibly somebody grabbing your feet when you're sleeping, and not quite sure how I would handle that or how the wife would handle it, but it would be one heck of an experience.
Dog lovers walked the red carpet in Peru's Halloween celebrations. Puppies of all breeds wore their best fancy dress. Their strut on the carpet was judged, along with originality, creativity, and how involved the dog's human family was in creating the costume. This year's winner is a Yorkie who brought her best Wednesday Addams impression. Halloween hopes to promote responsible pet ownership and adoption.
We're headed down into the cellar where the doors just opened on its own. Give us a sign that you want to communicate with us.
The house that inspired the horror movie The Conjuring has been sold. Paranormal investigator Corey Heinzen recently bought the 18th century house with his wife Jennifer and son Kyler.
It's a piece of history, both American history and paranormal history, and it's something that both me and Jen adore. And it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own something that falls into both categories. So we decided, you only live once, so why not take a chance at it?
The family has been recording the entire Rhode Island house, searching for paranormal evidence. They even have plans to restore the Conjuring house and open it for tours.
All these people that just love the paranormal, they just wanted a peek of it, so why not, give them a peek of it and let them come in and experience it for themselves.
Paranormal author and former resident Andrea Perron is excited about the house being opened. The Conjuring is based loosely on her family's experience, along with those of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren.
There's a way to gather evidence now that did not exist when we lived here. And so I'm thrilled and delighted because every piece of evidence that they collect is more validation and vindication of my family's story. And so for that, I am very grateful indeed.
The Hudson family claims to have experienced some supernatural activity already.
Mostly noises, doors
mostly.
opening that we know were closed, doors opening in front of us once in a while. Just mostly noises.
However, Perron is not worried for their safety.
I would say be careful what you wish for surely you will get it. The Hudson family is well informed, very knowledgeable about this subject matter, all of them. And so I feel very confident and comfortable with them being here.
Oh my God.
A woman gets quite a surprise driving down her street.
What the hell?
No, it's not Michael Myers, the serial killer from the Halloween movies, but Sabrina Zimmerman immediately recognized the goofball behind the mask. It was her husband.
Seriously, get home or I'm gonna have you committed.
And here he is unmasked.
He always scared me when I was a kid. Freddy Krueger scared me, but Michael Myers, I always thought he was the creepiest.
Speaking of Halloween, actress Gabrielle Union is taking a nostalgic turn, dressing up in her cheerleading costume from Bring It On. Her daughter, Kavya, was twinning with Mom, paying homage to the movie that made her famous nearly 20 years ago. She's still got it. Supermodel Ashley Graham also hit the Halloween party scene, dressed up as Jessica Rabbit. The pregnant supermodel showed off her baby bump in a skin-tight red latex dress.
I'm not bad, I'm just drawn that way.
Welcome to Chryslerville, built in 1885.
It was once a small factory town in the New York City borough of Staten Island. But there are few remnants of the neighborhood then known as Chryslerville. A street sign, a big house on a hill, and possibly the spirits of the people who lived there.
We have heard moans and groans, doors shutting. We will actually hear furniture moving around upstairs sometimes, footsteps.
Visitors have reported mysterious sounds and sightings at the house throughout the years. But who could be haunting this place?
Well, Balthasar Chrysler built this town. Balthasar was German. He comes to New York in the 1840s. New York City was built of wooden houses and they were burning down. And he was in the stone business in Germany. He opened his factory here in the 1850s and became very rich. So rich, and he employed everybody, that they changed the name of the town from Charleston to Chryslerville. And a lot of people, including me, still call it Chryslerville. But later on, after they were gone, during the war, the anti-German bigotry, you know, they didn't want anything with a German name too much, so they changed it back to Charleston. This house and the one that is gone, which was a mirror image of this, were built in about 1886 for two of his sons. This was Charles's house. Next door was Edward's house. They were mirror image homes. And Charles and Edward worked at the factory across the way.
Balthasar lived in a house on another part of the property. That's where he died in August of 1886 of natural causes. The Chrysler family had a fairly peaceful and happy time on the compound, except for one tragic event in 1894 when Edward Chrysler took his own life at the factory across the road from the home his father built for him.
They didn't try to hide it. He shot himself, and his wife called the local doctor who lived in Tottenville, which is about 3 miles down the road, and he came and pronounced him dead.
By 1909, the Chryslers had left Staten Island behind for New Jersey. Charles's house is the only one remaining on the property, which changed hands several times and is currently owned by a real estate developer in California.
The only really sad thing, aside from Edward's suicide, would be the murder in 2005, I believe. That's all recent history, and that has nothing to do with the Chryslers. That was just unfortunate.
In 2005, a man named Joseph Young was living in the mansion as a caretaker. Federal investigators say in April of that year, he carried out a hit ordered by a mob soldier in the Bonanno crime family. The victim, Robert McKelvey, was a Bonanno associate. Investigators say Young, also known as Joe Black, stabbed McKelvey and drowned him in a pond on the property. He then cut up the body and burned it in the house's furnace. Young is serving life in prison without parole for the crime.
As far as hauntings, I don't really believe in it, so I can't really speak to that. But there's a lot of people that feel that they feel something. I don't think it would be Kreischer's because the Kreischer's had a happy time here. But possibly with the last events that happened, who knows?
Well, I kind of wasn't always a believer till I started really catching a lot of stuff on my phone.
Rick Rispoli has been the caretaker of the Kreischer Mansion for 2 years.
All right, guys, welcome to the Kreischer Mansion. Let's take a walk inside. This is a thing they used to use in the 1800s called encruster. It's a cross between leather and linoleum. They used to use it a lot in the 1800s. They really don't use it these days, but it was done back then a lot. The house is kind of decorated now for the haunt at the Kreischer Mansion, which is a Halloween hayride and haunted house that we run through the whole month of October. Follow the arrows. Am I calling it the front parlor room? Is that the proper for the 1800s? This was the main parlor room from back in the 1800s. And also we got the Kreischer bricks. Yeah, I got a fireplace in every room. This is all done with the Kreischer bricks right in front of all the fireplaces. And this is the only Widow Peak that's outside. The other two were indoors. Right on the water was where the factory was.
During his time there, Rispoli says he's seen and heard many things he can't explain.
Actually, one incident, we were actually right here on the porch unloading chairs one night, about 12:30 at night, and we actually had a song come on the radio. My assistant was here with me, we were unloading chairs, and she said, "Rick, the radio went on in the car." And I was like, okay. And then all of a sudden she said, "Here's my keys." We've caught orbs. We've actually caught orbs right here on the porch. Took 5 shots, the orbs moved in 5 different positions. There was 4 orbs moving straight right, kind of like in a circle. From one side of this door, right here, straight down to the bottom to the other side. We've caught pictures of full bodies looking out the windows and full faces looking out the windows at us.
The Kreischer Mansion has been designated a landmark by New York City, which means it can't be torn down. The owner has had many plans for it over the years, which never materialized. But Rispoli says it could one day be turned into a museum. Because after years of reported hauntings, who would want to live here?
I've kind of got comfortable with it, to be honest with you. I come in here and it's not harmful. Nothing's been harmful at all. It's just been kind of freaky a little bit. But overall, I kind of got comfortable. The house wants to be treated, believe it or not, with respect. If you treat it with respect.
Powerful stories that change the way you think. Impactful investigations that change the way you see.
How many times has your car been stolen?
5 times. Yeah.
What? Do you think that you're a responsible owner of tigers?
I damn sure do.
Heartwarming moments that change the way you feel.
I feel amazing.
Now available in a place that changes the way you watch TV. Inside Edition, streaming.
The horror classic Halloween is back. 40 years after Jamie Lee Curtis first appeared in the spine-chilling slasher film, she returns to take revenge on the psychopathic masked killer, Michael Myers. Now she's proudly tweeting, "Biggest movie opening with a female lead over 55. Fans are obsessed with everything Halloween." Incredibly, the killer's home has become just as iconic as Michael Myers himself. Fans from all over the world come here to South Pasadena, California, just to see this house in person. Many come dressed as Michael Myers, complete with mask and knife, to pose in front of what is now an office building. These tourists came all the way from London just for a photo.
It is, to me, the most important house, and I'm obsessed with it.
Sarah Rose Orlandini has made a business out of it. Her Sugar Mint Gallery is next door with a permanent display inspired by the film. A few blocks away is the home where Jamie Lee Curtis's character lived. Remember when she sits outside on the front stoop while holding a pumpkin? Countless fans recreate that famous scene.
This is the spot where hundreds of fans come to sit like she sat.
Bianca and Ron have lived in the iconic house more than 30 years.
When you bought this house, you bought it in '84, you had no idea that this was the house from Halloween, did you?
No, they warned us about a possible freeway coming through, but not about 1,000 people a year coming through.
But they embrace it and leave pumpkins out all year round for fans to pose with.
The fans just love it.
They even took this tongue-in-cheek photo celebrating their wedding anniversary. Now with the new Halloween a hit, you can bet even more fans will be lurking.
Her story is the stuff of legends and Hollywood films. But the house where Lizzie Borden lived and was accused of committing murders in is real, and it's just been sold to this man.
We have a lot of different types of people that are interested in Lizzie Borden house for different reasons. Some people are all in it about the history. Then you get some people that are all in it for, the haunted experience aspect of it and the ghost aspect of it. And then you get people that just want to see a really interesting place.
Lance Zoll recently purchased the historic home in Fall River, Massachusetts, where Andrew and Abby Borden were murdered with an axe in 1892. Lizzie Borden was accused of killing her father and stepmother, but after a sensational 13-day trial, she was acquitted.
It's one of the United States' biggest unsolved murder mysteries. And nobody still knows who did it, and people are still asking about it. People are still debating it.
The Borden home is now a bed and breakfast, where guests have reported seeing apparitions, and for those brave enough to sleep in Lizzie's bedroom, even being choked by Lizzie's ghost. Is the Lizzie Borden house truly haunted? Lance says while sleeping there, he experienced things that are, in his words, unexplained.
I heard footsteps in the room next to me. I heard a man's voice also coming from somewhere in the house. I heard footsteps up above me. I heard footsteps going up the stairs. And then when I had the comforter on myself in the bed, when I was working in bed, something was touching the comforter and pulling the comforter, and something was touching my leg.
Lance doesn't want ghost stories and murder to be the only things people think of with the Lizzie Borden house. After buying the house that was listed for $2 million, he's planning to expand operations to 7 days a week, introduce family-friendly tours, and create a virtual app-based experience.
We're still honoring the history, and we will be providing more tours. But we want Lizzie Borden house to be a place where everybody can come and where people can go and have a great time.
This is a really crazy story. Everything that happens, you think, what's going on? It's completely bewildering. My name is Kate Summerscale, and I wrote The Haunting of Alma Fielding.
Kate Summerscale tells the true story of a woman who may have been haunted by a poltergeist.
Well, it was one Friday night in February 1938 that Alma Fielding was in bed with her husband Les in a working class suburb of South London. She and Les apparently witnessed this bizarre poltergeist activity, objects flying across the room like glass tumblers, light bulbs. And when her 16-year-old son, Don, came to the door to see what was going on because of all the clatter and shrieking, things were thrown at them as well, a sort of pot of face cream, some coins. The whole family was very scared. And when the events continued the next morning in the kitchen, eggs flew around and so on, Alma telephoned a Sunday newspaper that was running a series on the supernormal, as it was then called, and invited the journalists to come and see for themselves what was going on in her house. She was terrified.
Word of the haunting made its way to a man named Nandor Fodor.
He was a Hungarian Jewish refugee in London who worked for the International Society for Psychical Research. He believed in ghosts, but he hadn't yet been able to categorically pin down the truth of them. And he thought this sounded like a really plausible case. And so he hurried down to see if he could get any evidence for himself of these supernatural happenings. Well, he went down with a couple of colleagues, and all of them independently saw different things happen, which, when collated, seemed good evidence that something genuinely weird was going on. Wine glasses spring out of Alma's hands and shatter in mid-air, even hit the light fixture in the ceiling. A saucer that had been used to feed the cat fly across the room when Alma's back was turned, and there was absolutely no way she could have thrown it, and shatter against the back door. A vase apparently transported independently from one room to another. They were very excited, as well as slightly chilled by what was happening there. They wanted to discover proof of the supernatural, but equally they didn't want to be taken for fools, and they were wise to a lot of the tricks that mediums and others deployed in impersonating supernatural events. So they were looking out for things like strings and wires and misdirection and sleight of hand, the tricks that the conjurers on the London stage were also using at the time. They invited Alma to come into the International Institute for Psychical Research in South Kensington to see if the poltergeist energies would follow her there. To their great delight and amazement, they did, but they took new forms. So when Alma paraded around the seance room in the presence and under observation from all the researchers, she apparently materialized from thin air small objects. Pieces of jewelry, odd little items from her home seemed to have followed her and materialized, and increasingly sort of more ancient objects like little terracotta pots, and eventually even live creatures, a mouse, a bird, a terrapin.
It all seemed too good or too eerie to be true.
Fodor became increasingly suspicious. This went on for some time, many weeks. Things got weirder and weirder in terms of the experiences she was reporting, but Fodor saw a couple of moments at which he thought he saw her cheating. He saw what could have been trickery and sleights of hand. And eventually he decided that to establish once and for all whether she was for real or not as a psychic, he kind of half-tricked her into submitting to an X-ray on a portable machine in their offices. And on the X-ray, he found evidence that she did have objects concealed in her body. Therefore, at least some of the phenomena were fraudulent.
Fodor thought there might be a psychological explanation for Alma's experience.
Fodor, deciding under the influence of ideas he'd read from Sigmund Freud and other psychoanalysts, that what was really going on with Alma, both in terms of her fraudulence and her genuine terror, was that she was expressing repressed trauma, and that a traumatic event had occurred in her childhood, which she had forgotten, and that was emerging in the form of these phenomena and this sort of acting out and storytelling. But when the other members of the International Institute for Psychical Research got wind of his theories and where he was going with it, he started, in effect, conducting a kind of psychoanalysis on Alma. They were very freaked out by this and thought it was very disrespectful of the spiritualist beliefs of many people in the Institute, and also just dangerously sort of sexual and weird, and generally would discredit the institution. So he was expelled from the Institute. He, having been their chief research officer, chief ghost hunter, he was turfed out, and the investigation into Alma was abruptly ended.
And that was the end of Alma's haunting story.
After this, Fodor, to his delight, managed to get some endorsement for his theories from Freud himself, who had turned up in London that year. And then Fodor left London, left England, and went and established himself in New York and forged a new career as a psychoanalyst.
Fodor died in 1964. Alma Fielding eventually moved to the countryside where she occasionally held seances. She died in 1976. So, was she actually haunted by a poltergeist? Summerscale says it's not necessarily an easy question to answer.
A lot of supernatural experience was a way for these women, in any case, of expressing traumatic experience, expressing things for which there was no language at the time. Almost like a performance artist, her supernatural experience was telling something about her inner life that was not accommodated by the society in which she found herself, or the life she found herself living as an ordinary housewife in a working class home in South London. So haunting as a form of self-expression and of expression of stories for which a culture or society doesn't yet have a language.
Powerful stories that change the way you think. Impactful investigations that change the way you see.
How many times has your car been stolen?
5 times.
Yeah. What? Do you think that you're a responsible owner of tigers?
I damn sure do.
Heartwarming moments that change the way you feel.
I feel amazing.
Now available in a place that changes the way you watch TV. Inside Edition, streaming.